Welcome, everyone. Thanks for joining us. As you know, today we're going to have a very interesting topic. We're going to talk about plant phenotyping and how to do it really, really fast. Okay, as you all know, the concept behind this is that right now, Singapore and the world is facing growing pressures from climate change. And that means that we are now under growing pressure to meet our food security challenges. Okay, so right now I'm going to share my screen so you can see just a recent article. This is just days ago. The United Nations warned that a rapid retreat of glaciers could jeopardize the food and water supply for up to 2 billion people globally. Now, it's not so hard to imagine how Singapore is affected by this because we import 90% of our food from around the world. Okay, so these kind of developments are not distant threats. These are happening right now, and it's signaling to us that we are running against time. We need to dramatically speed up our innovations and unlock new breakthroughs in agriculture. Now, for researchers among us, you probably can already identify that the traditional methods of gathering plant physiological data can be frustratingly slow. Manual readings, delayed lab results, missed subtle changes, all these are problems. And high-throughput plant phenotyping offers us a smarter way forward. It gives us real-time, non-destructive insights at scale, helping researchers to make faster, better informed decisions. And so today, we're going to ask this question: how can we accelerate agricultural research? And for the policymakers among us, how can we put these technologies into the hands of our researchers? I am Daniel, your host today. You'll hear from technology pioneers that are tackling these challenges head-on. Karen from Plant-Ditech will show you how real-time phenotyping can and has transformed the way plant phenotyping is now conducted. Bruno from Living Optics will explain how hyperspectral sensing opens new possibilities for scalable research. We'll then finish with a live Q&A session. Okay, without further ado, let's welcome Karen from Plant-Ditech as she takes us into the world of high-throughput phenotyping. Karen, over to you.
Thank you so much, Daniel, and thank you for the opportunity to speak to you all. I appreciate you taking the time to learn about these new technologies. One of them is ours. We are Plant-Ditech, a company from Israel. I will share my screen, so give me a minute just to do that. And hopefully we can immediately start. So a little bit about us. We are a company from Israel, but we are a spin-off from a university. So the technology was developed in the Hebrew University, and we continued, developed, and commercialized the product, which is phenotyping. We are revolutionizing plant phenotyping with automated functional phenotyping technology. I will explain to you about it. This is a little bit just a snapshot to see some of our customers and users and see also the type of customers we have. So we have customers from the universities / industrial research, private, governmental, all kinds, and also food research, so breeding mainly. An example here is Mars Wrigley, and we have also customers from the chemical and biochemical space that are all utilizing our technology. So this is just to give you a bit of a sense. And so far, we are already since 2017, we started to sell. So we have users that published over 60 scientific articles in top journals. You're very welcome to look at our website and look them up under the reference section. So a little bit just about the principle of the system before we really describe it. So we call it is like the smartwatch of the phenotyping, plant phenotyping arena, because this very similar concept of measuring the human dynamics physiological response, we are also measuring the plant dynamics physiological response to different treatments, and we measure plants in a comparative way, so not only one, but many at the same time simultaneously. What we do, we focus mainly on the water activity, as the water activity reflects also the rhythm of CO2 fixation, which means photosynthesis, which means yield at the end. So our traits are physiological traits. We're measuring the water balance and growth of the plant, where all the parameters we measure, they have high correlation with yield, and therefore we can early in the process already understand the plant differences and the plant reaction, and we don't need to wait until the yield, until the whole season. We actually can run very quick tests on the system, our users can run, and so we shorten the whole process quite dramatically. Instead of months of research, we can do it within days. And we not only do the speed up the research, but we also do the whole thing much easier, automated, and deeper, because we take data about 500 times a day, something that a human cannot do. What we do, we control, measure, and analyze. So we do all of this all together. We control each and every plant in the array with different treatments to its soil and water. We measure the plant physiology and the environment at the same time, so we can correlate between the two. And we analyze, we allow you to analyze while the experiment is already going. So immediately you can see the results analyzed statistically in real time. The technology is based on different sensors. The main sensor, as you can see, this is in a greenhouse. The system sits with closed indoor farms, indoor greenhouse or growth chambers, research areas. We have the main sensors are a lysimeter, what we call a lysimeter, which is a mini scale, very sensitive scale. This is the scale. And atmospheric station, atmospheric sensing. So as I said, plant and environment at the same time dynamically throughout the day. And you can add many different sensors to it, like soil sensor, additional plant sensors that we also measure while we measure with the help of our technology. And I'll explain exactly what we measure. We also have this controller that helps to monitor and also to implement different treatments. And this controller is to each and every plant. So each and every plant can get its own cocktail, as described here in this drawing. Each plant can get its own water regime, different nutrient applications, salinity, and so forth, even flooding. So we can control different soil water condition, including flood, to the spot, and then measure with all the different sensors and analyze with the help of our software. Thanks to this controller to each pot, we can also randomize the structure, as you can see, and we supply everything which is on the table, or if you want to position it on the floor or on shelves in a growth room, we implement all of it and connect to your fertigation irrigation lines. We have a lot of thought into this technology that includes all these different plastics and covers. And this is because we want to measure the whole chain of water activity from the root through the plant to the atmosphere. And so what we do, we eliminate any water excess that could go on the scale. As I said, very sensitive scale. So we need to eliminate any water drops on the scale or eliminate any evaporation from the soil if we want to measure the plant precisely. The problem with lysimeter systems, we didn't invent lysimeter systems, but we did invent the technology and the water the irrigation application. And this technology includes this green bath with all these covers, etc. And this helps us in order to avoid different leakages. This is, for example, another lysimeter system where you can see a lot of leakages on the scale. This is from the website. Specifically, it's a company called Phenotyping. You can see leakages on the scales. You can see that there is irrigation in one area, but we irrigate it evenly all across the pot. We put covers on top. So we take a lot of care about the water and the precision in terms of how to apply the treatment and also how to measure much more precisely. You can see here, for example, the same competitor, they have these pots here, this bath, which is transparent. It causes algae and also evaporation directly from this bath. And also you see that because they don't have covers, people just try to find other solutions, which is not good, because here they suffocate the plant, the soil, and this cause all kind of diseases. We have a more breathing material, which is more formatic, that is, of course, designed to do this. So what do we measure? So we measure transpiration very precisely, 500 times a day, how much the plant is losing water, what is the rate of losing water, and we compare it between the plant. We measure the growth by biomass gain. This is something unique to us. This is part of our patented technology, how we measure the biomass. So we measure it on a daily basis, and the actual net plant, or if you like, the wet weight of the plant during its growth. So you don't have to distract the plant in order to know the growth and the weight of the plant, what is usually being done only at the end of the experiment. Based on that, we take water use efficiency measurements and stomatal conductance, which is on the whole canopy, on the whole plant, and not just on the one leaf area. This trait was checked and verified by Wageningen University and reached 0.99 correlation with porometer, so this is very precise. And you have also root influx. This is with the help of soil sensor. We're measuring the root water uptake. As I said, we take the measurement from the root through the plant to the atmosphere. And also, you can see here additional plant traits. This is from additional sensor. These are optional, NDVI, IR, that could be also measured together with these traits. Also, you have atmospheric sensing, including VPD. This is in the basic setup, and you can add, so it's, temperature, humidity, light, and you can add wind, you can add soil sensing of different kind, you can add also sensing in the reservoir. So a lot of options to add different sensors. Again, if you want to understand more, you can look at our website under the add-on sensors, and you can see the full list of these sensors. Here you can see just an example of how the plants are measured at the time of growth. So you can see a 1 month trial where the plants are being grown. They are put in drought, so this is a stress that's being applied, and then recovery. And this is measured while they're growing and shown in different ways. You can see it like this. You can see it already analyzed with statistics, with ANOVA, t-test, box plot, different ways. And this is how the transpiration activity of different tomato lines, where it was put in different water regime and then recovery. So this could be like that. You can put in different soil and check the plant response. You can do different nutrients, salinity, flooding, a lot of different ways. This is, by the way, the dashboard directly from the system, and this is how you actually choose the time that you want, the time frame you want to look at the data, the traits, different traits, and which groups you want to look at, and this gives you this performance here. This is on a days, meaning from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. And you can see here the environmental sensing together with the different measurement as transpiration rate and stomatal conductance. And you can see very nicely that at a certain time of the day, between 10 and 9 to around 11, you can see that the plants are much more productive. Their transpiration rate is higher. When you when you see it in papers how the scientists measure the plants also at the end of the cycle after they had fruits and yield, you could see that this added 15% more yield, this window that we call it the golden hour, and you can capture it very nicely by the system. And you can also see the stomatal conductance and see which of the plants are most active. You can see it here, you can see it also here. And again, how they respond to the light, because it's very similar to photosynthesis activity, this measurement. So this is just a one-day time frame. And here you can see it by the days. This is an example of different soils, optimization of soils, how they, in this case specifically, it's cannabis plants, how they respond to different soil conditions, different soil types. And you can see here the biomass gain and here the transpiration. If you can see, these are very similar. Only transpiration will start very early in the process. You can see also this gray line already starting to show an effect very, very early in the process. And this is because transpiration is a very sensitive trait to capture every plant response. Usually plant response is within 5 minutes. We measure every 3 minutes. So you can understand that we can capture every reaction by the plants. We also have irrigation capabilities that are quite unique. We can do irrigation by time, by target weight, soil size, transpiration, which is the plant activity. It's a feedback system that you can implement the different treatments. A lot of capabilities here. We can control 2 different solutions and provide different cocktails to different plants, different programs. Very, very flexible abilities. I don't have the time to go into it much, but just so you can at least understand a little bit about it. You can even implement 6 different solutions, not only 2 as in the basic, which 2 is already a lot. You can even implement 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, however the number of solutions, let's say for different gradients of, in this case, it's salinity, and different gradients of potassium. This is a ICL, a chemical company, the biggest in Israel, who wanted to understand the potassium use efficiency and salinity response by the plants. And they've done all these kind of tests. With the system, you can run variety of plants of different kinds. And the last bit that I want to talk to you about is how we refer to imaging, because imaging is a different mechanism for measuring plants, plant phenotyping, which are also starting to be more and more automated. But there are it's a big difference between imaging and physiology. What I want to say that they don't contradict each other, they actually complement each other. So imaging is measuring the plant structure, its color. It has some issues as it's very slow to measure. The camera is going very slowly on top of the plants, very few plants at a time, harder to analyze because it's cloud points. It's not like a direct measurement like we're doing. And you have little control or not control at all for the irrigation. So how we complement the imaging? We supply very flexible control of the irrigation and fertigation. We measure dynamically the plants, not just few days or one per day. We measure all the plants simultaneously and continuously, and we capture each and every response by the plant. So kind of like the smartwatch. And the last thing I want to show you is how this looks at Wageningen. And here you can see how the imaging is actually on top of our system, going very, very slowly. All these green lights are of our system taking data. So you can see that the rhythm or the resolution of the data is much, much higher. But this works together and it works well together. And Wageningen is very happy with this combination. That's it. If you want my direct contact, this is my email. You're very welcome to write to me and ask more questions after this webinar. And of course, to also approach Netatech directly. And I'll be happy to help. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you so much, Karen, for the very exciting advanced technology that you guys have and is being used around the world to speed up plant phenotyping. All right.
Thank you.
So just now, Karen, you mentioned about imaging, and that is a very good segue for our next speaker, Bruno, who's going to share about hyperspectral imaging. Bruno?
Yes, thanks, Daniel, for the invitation, and really, glad to work with Daniel and David for us. Can you see my screen at the moment?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, sounds great. Okay, so just simply, have introduced our background. So we are Living Optics. So we are kind of an UK-based company, and we invent a hyperspectral camera, which are effective implement for phenotyping in plant crops and also other plants health. Because we believe, by some handhelds hyperspectral camera, we can provide a detailed spectral information across a different wide range of wavelength. Yeah, so in latest introduction, I'm going to showing the different stuff. First of all, we also take some example in viticulture field, and we also introduce why we invent this technology and also methodology as well. Yeah, so just simple background, we invent this one on the lab, and it turns out our camera could be address the most critical issue. I would say the agriculture is one of the most important sector. We focus on the industry. Besides this, we also have a lot of use cases in medical and industrial as well as in other area. Yeah, so I think for agriculture, we are really glad to work with Netatech for some implementation. And the classic example for hyperspectral cameras, right, is like for satellite equipped HIS camera. So, the HIS camera can detect a different spectral signature, either in soil and also water and also vegetation. Yeah, so you can detect the different spectral signature. And we have a 3-dimension of data to combine with the spectral information and also the spectral information. And each of the pixel in the frame will have a unique rich spectral signature. So whenever you measure the individual colors, right, you can get a light interacting with the material, and you can get a higher resolution than just 3-color band. Because traditionally, there are only like 3 color, which is RGB between 400 to 700. It's like visible light range. And now we are assigned our own camera between 400 to 900, which is of course a near infrared range. And we even define into 96 channel compared to the additional RGB 3 channels data. So we are able to get more detailed information about each band. And by leveraging the information of each band, right, we can able to tell about the plant health and also the like a plant stress and other soil condition information. And let me show you some example we did in the field. So first of the information, you can see we try to implement our stuff to in a pure counting, because traditionally it's like quite labor intense. And when we implement with our AI modeling, we can be able to do some counting and also labeling, to counting whether there's how many healthy people in a scene, and we reduce a lot of manpower. And second thing is that we try to use some algorithm to do design mask to detect in the field whether there's a plant health got some issue, and we just need to handhold the camera working in the vineyard, and we can directly capture what's the yield you can imagine in the scene. And the third thing is also something we did in real time, which we detect the bruise in the apple surface, because traditionally they would require some certain skills to identify whether this got some bruise, got some issue. But by leverage our hyperspectral camera, we can able to tell you something in real time. So it's really effective, especially if we are doing the agriculture field. And next one is like I was showing more detail about how we leverage on this technology to really address the few outstanding issues, something like labor and time consuming, and it's also like small feedback. Yeah. Okay. So first of all, this one is showing in different like situation of a healthy, we can tell you the spectrum between 400 to 900. Each of the status of the plants, right, they will have a spatial like signature in spectrum. So either they got some past issue or some issue of less water or less some soil issue, we can be able to tell in different signature. And we can also to see what's the individual value in specific band to make a determination whether what's the post process we need to do. Either we need to add more water or we need to add more fertilizer, you know, in different kind of area of a plant. And so this few technology in the world, which including like point scan, line scan, and snapshot hyperspectral camera. And we are the only one, the first one to propose the hyperspectral snapshot camera in the world. And compared to existing approach, which you might know in the industry for past 20 years, some company have proposed like line scan, which is take maybe few seconds and few minutes to forming up a image. But we can profile like real time. Meaning we only need to handhold a hyperspectral camera working in the field, then we can give you the detailed information in real time. So it's much, I would say, it's ever stepping in lots of use case. You don't need to wait for a long time, and you can immediately know what's the situation is and what's the post processing you need to do. And our technology is like come from, not just for software. We invented the hardware by ourselves, meaning by different type of lens and different kind of beam splitter, and we able to use this hardware to do some compression of the image. We get all the image from our hardware, and we use the software to do decoding. And we also leverage on NVIDIA latest platform, just an HS, to do some machine learning and do some proprietary modeling to enable the farmer and also architect partner to implement this solution in different type of plant and also different type of fruit. And it's also showing some technology. We leverage the classic like CMOS sensor, which is like some CMOS sensor, so we can profile video rate up to 30 FPS. I would say it's one of the factors happens from the world, and we can define the more detailed information. And so something we compare to traditional RGB difference, right? Because we also have a spatial information and spatial like information to overlap. So we can also see what's the information from RGB camera. And also we can capture the spectral information. And by leveraging on latest model, we can do some machine learning on RGB and also by some new signature of spectral information, which we will be able to tell you whether this plant requires some further treatment or not. And yeah, so this is some video you can see under the normal camera and also under hyperspectral camera. We can see the plant health in different colors, density, and tell you in real time. And yeah, and also the right one is like we are able to tell you some of the yield of the grape and also the quality. And so the reason we can leverage on this is because we capture the spatial information, right? And we also combine some of the industrial standard like NDVI. And so NDVI, I believe most of you should be familiar with this indicator. So the Lancet normalized difference vegetation index and used to quantify the vegetation greenness and also is really useful for understanding the vegetarian density. And we managed to build up this model inside the camera, and we are able to tell you within those things, right? And what's the NDVI indicator? And yeah, and by this parameter, we can tell you whether this one is healthy and whether this one is like a real pan or a fat pan. And it's also another field sample in different like life cycle of a plant and do some target assessment and from previous image and also for overlap and also for mercury to measure different indicator of the plant health. And yeah, so this one is also showing when we overlap, the NDVI in the field and provide you the assessment in high volume and gonna be real time image. And we also doing some analysis between whether the plant under the fertilizer or without the fertilizer. And like at the moment, we also try to see whether we can identify the organic and also non-organic one, and also to do further analysis on the exact parameter. Yeah, so it's really strong, powerful, especially if you are doing like agriculture, like research, and it's also if you are trying to improve the existing yield of the existing like agricultural stuff, it's really quite useful. And it's also something we did with my career overlapping and in the farm. And yeah, you can see when we in different time frame, we can get a different spectral image, and we can also be integrated with a different like hardware to provide the GPS data and provide other information for you to define whether the location and whether the status of the plant. Yeah, so I think this one is also showing some of the machine learning we're building, and it's also help you to do some data process, all the data we capture. As I mentioned, we capture the 96 band across the 400 to 900 nanometer. So we can, get lots of information and doing further labeling, in different area, because each of a type of a plant and fruit, they have a specific wavelength band. And based on the then differentiation, we can like customize something based on the plant you did, and to see what's the additional information. So I highly encourage you can like scan the QR code from our white paper. You can read through what's the research we did for past few months. And yeah, and now we also have one of our partners to do some certain data training and further result to see what's the best recipe for their plant. So simple way to define our offerings, like we are like camera and like visual solution providers, right? So we help like farmer and agri-tech partner to detect and also to find out what's the issue and what's the current situation, like the stress of the plant itself, and we try to provide like non-disruptable solution to identify what's happening. And we can also help to do some segmentation and do some model in order for us to check what's the issue and what's the post-treatment we can do. And yeah, so our offer is including the camera and also the edge computing. And especially in agriculture like segment, I believe this is something new in this industry for people to adapt. And because it's also something we feel is quite highly potential. We even put on our camera on the drone itself to see what's the situation across all the farm, and able to tell you if there's a soil got some water issue, and plant got some further treatment. And yeah, this is something we show in real time. We can tell you this area of a tree is without like fertilizer, and something is like in different situations. So there will be different wavelengths. As you see, the red one and also the green one, it will be showing different types of signature. So we can use this information to tell you in real time, okay, whether you need to start some certain additional treatment. So yeah, it's something we did for past few months, and yeah, I mean, we believe this one will be quite useful, especially in plant prototyping, because some of the industries will rely on some certain like sensor, and something we will see if a visual way can also be supplement into the way for people to better monitor what's happening and provide additional information for you to make a better decision. Yeah, so really thanks you for the opportunity for sharing, and yeah, over to Daniel.
Thank you so much, Bruno. Very exciting, all these new technologies. All right. So right now we are going to the Q&A segment. So if you have any questions for Karen or Bruno, please type it into the chat. So the chat is at the bottom right-hand corner, like a speech bubble. Okay, so I think you all also have the ability to unmute your mic if you so wish. Okay, so we'll give you a few minutes to gather your thoughts, prepare your questions. Okay, so while you guys are preparing, maybe I can start with my questions addressed to Karen. So Karen, what is the leading edge right now in terms of plant phenotyping? What kind of trends are you seeing in the industry?
Okay, so I see more and more need, actually more and more demand. We feel it very well. We increased capacity, we have more and more presence, and I think it's a global issue where all kinds of climate change impact are happening around the globe, and people are looking for solutions and to speed up the solutions to the market, either on a commercial level or on a research level, theoretical research, to understand how they can help provide understand certain mechanism that can help to face this climate change. This is why we decided to add also the flood control. This is an add-on to our technology that we provide also today, because also flooding became something that we see a lot around the globe, on top of drought, salinity, and all these kind of nutrient deficiencies and all the other things. Of course, heat in certain area and cold stress. And also optimization, as we see in Singapore, more and more goes indoor and looking for a solution to go indoor. And optimization is then the end game, and we need to provide better protocols for irrigation, for fertigation, and to deal with indoor environment, which is very different from the outdoor. So these are the trends that we feel.
Right. Thank you so much, Karen.
Thank you.
Just last week, we had one town of ours got close to 320 mm of rain in 2 days, which is, normally we get 200 in a month. We exceeded that in 2 days, so it's just crazy. Yeah.
Well, it happens not only in Singapore, it happens in many places these days, and more and more people are looking for such solutions. And also even for rice, rice is grown also on water, in water areas, and there is a need in Japan, in China, those areas that are very established based on rice, also your area, of course. And looking for such solutions in order to bring, in the breeding process, to bring better yielding plants in such environments.
Yeah. All right. Okay, let me just check to see if there's any questions coming in. Okay, well, we have a very quiet group here. Okay, no problem. Okay, so then my next question is to Bruno. Bruno, where do you guys see your technology going in the future? In terms of agriculture segment, where is it going?
Yeah, I feel there's a more and more demand, especially come from Singapore. Like labor force is like something cost is something expensive, and agriculture friendly are leveraging automation like solution. And we also try to integrate with a different facility like a drone. So I can see in Southeast Asia, farm with a drone is camera solution with a drone is a highly demand. And this is something we will think maybe in next generation, for farmer to provide a more automation solution, and especially can really give them a quick decision each of a plan, and to just help them to increase the yield. And so far, I feel it's lots of demand of not only in Singapore and also in Australia, because people are suffering from the cost and also from the you know, like some natural climate, and there's something people will try to find a solution and try to add a particular extraction as soon as possible. Yeah.
All right. Cool. Okay, great. All right, we have a question here. Okay, so the question is, do you feel that your tools would be better suited for industrial or for research applications? What's the estimated price point? Okay, so this is open to anyone, Karen and Bruno.
Yeah, I'm happy to answer first. So
yes.
So either way, either research applications or industrial, we have customers from both ends, and it's splitted between them. In terms of so I will just maybe mention the differences where in research. It's more about understanding the mechanism and sometimes also bringing a solution to the market. So it's both, but also, you know, the focus is on understanding mechanisms, where in industrial, it's more about the end game and how to bring products faster to the market, and we help accelerate the whole R&D process. I know that for our customers, it really saves them 2 to 3 years, at least in the process of bringing new products to market, either in the food or in the biochemical space. So this is in terms of that, and in terms of price point. So the system, our system is modular, so you can build it up based on your needs. Of course, it's research. Either for science or for industrial, but it's still a research system, which requires also repetitions per treatment. So you need more than one unit in order to come to conclusions. So I would say it will start from around $50,000 and depends on the number of units that you want to have. It could go up. But in overall, as much as the system is growing, also the price per unit is reduced. So the price is very versatile per the customer need, and also the different sensors he requires, and also the size of the pots that he requires. So it's very much around that. So this is just to give you a rough idea.
Thank you, Karen. Bruno, anything to add? Yeah, so I think from our ends, right, I would say in the beginning of the start of a company, I would say maybe around like 80% come from industrial usage. That's why we start the company. And but we released some few product in last year, and it's become maybe half from academic, because the reason being is like agriculture is one of our focus, but we do have other inquiry, especially from medical and from industrial quality check. And for some land, they will try to explore the potential in certain different areas. So that's why, you know, last year we generate like more sales from academic. Yeah, and because we also offer some good deal for academic to doing further research and exploration on our camera. And I think the price point depends on the application, because for different engagement model, we will even differ some certain model and also do some different model like purchase or loan. But generally it's around which is like around 20,000, and compared to existing like multi-spectrum offering in the market is around one server price. Yeah, so I think this is something we'll try to offer some incentive to the industry and also both the academic to explore like further potential about this imaging solution.
Thank you, Bruno. And I would like to thank you all for being part of today's session. We hope you walked away with new insights, learn about high-throughput plant phenotyping and hyperspectral sensing. You can see these kind of innovations can help us accelerate agricultural research and build a more resilient and food secure future for us and for our neighbors around the world. And on behalf of Plant-Ditech, Living Optics, and Nenatech, I want to thank you for your time, your curiosity, and your commitment to driving food innovations forward. Take care, and we'll see you around. Bye-bye.